Are you starting?
Yeah.
Andy and Phil? Or Phil and Andy?
Phil and Andy.
Okay.
Hello, this is the, I almost said Phil and Andy, but Andy and Phil podcast.
See, you always use it at the right time. That's the right way the first time you said it.
Why are you wearing glasses?
You don't have to correct yourself, because I can't see anymore. That's what happens when you get old.
I'm not used to Phil with glasses. I don't know if we can edit them out or whatever, but...
Hopefully there's no glare.
All right, well, we're just going to assume we can edit them out. All right, so we have finally compiled the list of our customers that have sent to us of Q&A. So this will be our very first Andy and Phil podcast with Q&A. So
now, out of the 1.4 million subscribers that we've got, we don't have 1.4 million questions just yet.
Exactly, not yet. So the first question, a little slow pitch here. Why do customers love Mazda so much compared to other brands?
These aren't even served up ahead of time. So what I've been told by customers is great car to own, very, very reliable. JD Power has Mazda third on the list as far as reliability goes. We are ahead of some of those past due juggernauts, like Hondas of the world, the Toyotas of the world. So probably the best way to describe it is Mazda's the best car company that is the most unknown at the same time. That's a kick at Mazda for tier 1 advertising, but if you've never been here, if you've never seen one, if you've never driven one, you got to come in and experience it. That's the best way to do it. That's what I think anyway.
I agree with you, and it's nice when we get customers that come in and they tell us that love story with the RX-7 or RX-8 they used to have, right? And they kind of get into the brand and they stay in the brand, right?
Yep.
So I think we have very enthusiastic, loyal owners. But to Phil's point, it's getting people to break from the Honda and Toyotas that their grandparents and their parents got them and get them to actually try Mazda out and see what we have to offer.
Well, that mid-90s Civic, right? When we were kids, that was the car. And you know what? That mid-90s Civic is an awesome car.
Yep.
Toyota Tercel, you can't kill them. But just like everything, sometimes quality does drop off. And for me anyway, Hondas and Toyotas, if they rest on their laurels a little bit, but I still think the Mazda's that brand because of its reliability and dependability and drivability.
Absolutely, and we are seeing, we are getting a lot of our trade-ins from those competitors, right, that are trading their vehicles in, because Mazda, I think now, we know about Mazda because we're Mazda guys, but they've realized that the quality is there and that the longevity is there as well. So, that was a long answer. Number 2 is, what is the number 1 car we sell here at Mazda Port Charlotte?
Hands down, CX-5 behind us. That's by far and away Mazda's bestseller, our bestseller Mazda in general.
Yeah, it's not even close. I think it's number 1 in the United States and it's number 1 globally as well. So it's a juggernaut for Mazda.
Question was, do you actually test drive every car that comes into the store?
We do. I don't, but our technicians do. So every car that we have goes through a Mazda PDI process. So that means the vehicle's up on the hoist, the wheels are off. We check the brakes, we check valves, we check pretty much everything on that vehicle that has wear and tear items. And then part of that PDI process is to test drive the vehicle to make sure it's safe and ready for our customers. The reason why is some of our vehicles are manufactured in Japan, some are manufactured in Mexico. It's a long way to travel. We want to make sure these cars are ready to go for the actual retail customer when you get that car.
Yeah, so don't forget, when these cars are on the boat or whether on the train, they're heavily winched down. Tires are overinflated so it doesn't cause flat spots, and we've got to reset that, and we have to put in the body plugs as well where those winches are, that winches it down on the truck.
Right. So the other question is, what is the craziest trade-in you've had at this store? You want to take that? We got some good stories.
I'll take that one. So, first trade-in, I think we had been open a week. We had taken an off trade-in. I was going through it because I was excited about it. In the glove box or in the center console storage, what I thought was a medical kit, being naive that I am. So thinking it's a diabetic kit, so I open it. No, it's a pistol, probably about this long, wood grain handle, nice and shiny. So hands off at that point in time. I'm like, what do I do? Not a gun guy.
Nice 38 special for somebody, but we gave it back to the rightful owner, so don't worry, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I think you took care of that one, didn't you?
Took care of that one.
Yes.
Any other crazy trade-ins yet?
Not down here, no. I've had experiences where we've had cars held together by duct tape. I've had farm animals in the back. I've had hay, I've had, you name it. Some you don't even want to drive from the front of the store to the back of the store. They are just gross. Anything jump out?
There's a lot, but no, I think you've covered it. I think the duct tape and the farm animals is going to beat anything I can come up with right now. So,
so moving on to used cars. Difference between a certified, Mazda certified vehicle or a regular used car?
No problem. So Mazda has almost a 200-point process for certifying used cars. So when we bring a vehicle in, to fall under what we call what Mazda calls the Mazda certified, has to be almost a new-like condition. Okay, so a lot of vehicles don't fall within those parameters right off the bat. There's cosmetic parameters on the outside. There's as far as consumables, new brakes, new wiper blades, obviously new oil like every used car, but that standard is much higher. So a lot of times our service loaners that we use, we have a huge loaner fleet, those are good for Mazda certified, or leases that are traded in at very, very low mileage. So very specific amount of cars. All of our cars do go through a certification process, they just don't fall under that Mazda certified process. So hopefully that helps answer that.
And do customers really get that no haggle pricing?
Absolutely. So one of the things that Phil and I set out when we opened the store here was to not have the addendums and all the craziness that you see at every other store in Florida. We do have a no haggle price. When you come in, I think people come in dukes up, ready to fight, and we give them our best price up front. We maximize what their trade is worth. We give them all the incentives that they're entitled to, and we give them a true transparent price. I don't know if people always accept that at first, but I think normally halfway through the process or even towards the end, they realize we're being genuine, that we are giving them a no haggle price. And we've been rewarded by our customers for that by having an extremely high Google review and extremely high customer satisfaction. So thank you to our customers, by the way, for that. Another one is, how do you handle if a customer buys a car and regrets it a few days later? Oh, we've had that a few times. Yeah.
A couple of different times. So, you know what, to be fair and reasonable, if you've got the car and it's not quite to your liking and you've noticed this after 3 or 4 days of driving and it just doesn't fit your lifestyle, we are open to any and every single conversation. We've done it where, you know what, just bring the car back to us. They don't like anything else on the lot, no problem, we'll just part ways as friends at this point in time. If it's over an extended period of time, we might ask for a few $100s or at least pick another unit from inventory, or maybe we'll go and find you a car. So we never want to put somebody into a position where they are unhappy with either us or the transaction that they've done. So we're always open to that conversation and never turn anybody away.
It's more common, and again, not to try to pat ourselves on the back, it is more common with other brands that end up trading their cars into us with very low mileage. We have a couple of vehicles on our lot right now that have 2,000, 3,000 miles because of regret. I find with us, it's usually the car is too small, so somebody buys a CX-30 and they realize they should have bought that CX-5, and so they come back and it's pretty much a material swap for us at that point.
Yeah, just a substitution.
So here's one. What happens to cars you don't put on the lot? Where do they go? I assume that's used cars?
Yeah, we'll assume that. So, you know what, not every car that we take in is ready to go back on the road that's going to be safe and reliable, which is what we want for people. We could put everything that we take in on trade back on the lot, but it's not what we want to do. So generally speaking, they're going to go off to a reseller. You guys will know it as an auction house or a wholesaler. So for those cars that we just don't deem safe enough or fair enough, we're gonna put those to an auction house. Very few occasions we'll actually call the tow guys and they'll just recycle them for us. So those are cars that are just done and garbage.
Yeah, pretty much. Good answer. How long does it take from unloading a Mazda at the port to the moment it's on the showroom floor? So I'll just take the beginning and then you can answer that if you want. Yep. As Phil alluded to earlier, a lot of our vehicles do come from Japan. They are actually crafted and built in Japan and shipped overseas to us, which means there's a pretty elaborate process of packing these on for long-term shipment and then unloading them in usually the Jacksonville port and getting them over to us. It can take once we see a vehicle that's at port, it's 2 weeks sometimes?
Yeah, so upwards of 2 weeks. Usually they're a little bit quicker than that. So what happens is the ship docks, they unload it, which is, if you jump on any one of these YouTubes, you can see the process of what it looks like to unload 15,000 cars from these ships. So we get invoice for the vehicle, truck goes to pick it up, we'll get it 2 weeks at the outside. Takes us another 20 minutes to unload them out back. We install a couple of fuses, then it goes into the shop for that PDI process.
Right, which is then where we actually test drive the vehicle and prepare it for you.
Make sure the fuses are in, make sure the tire pressures are set, make sure those body holes are plugged.
Well, that's a good question. So number 11 is, how do you decide what cars get ordered from Mazda USA and which trims, colors do you actually put in stock? Great question. So we use a system, it's an advanced inventory system that has an algorithm that tells us what sells at Mazda Port Charlotte. We end up getting Florida data, we end up getting local regional data, which is Southwest Florida, of seeing what vehicles are in higher demand, what trim is in higher demand, and then we order it accordingly. You'll notice Florida being very hot, we end up getting a lot of lighter colors and lighter interiors, more than you would see up north, right? So that algorithm works. We do have input. One of the other things that the algorithm can't do is when customers come in and give us feedback and say, you know, I really wish you had this with a lighter interior, lighter exterior, we then put in those custom orders for them as well. So it's a good system. It's not perfect. It requires, you know, human intervention, but it does a good job.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever done 100% to the algorithm. We've always got our own input into that, but it works fairly well. Yeah. So last but not least, we've got, what's the toughest part of running a Mazda dealership? That day-to-day customers don't see.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Great last question. I would say the hardest part of running a dealership is the fact that you have 5 businesses in one. So people often assume that we just kind of sell cars, which is cool, like at parties and stuff. Hey, you sell new cars. Yes, we sell new cars. That's only a small part of our business. We actually sell used cars. We sell a lot of parts. Parts has 2 businesses within that as well. Wholesale parts, which is selling to body shops and repair shops across Southwest Florida, is a business. Selling retail parts, like you want to put a hitch on your vehicle, you want to get adapters, things like that. We have that parts retail business. Service, our shop services all makes and models. We perform recalls, we perform those PDIs we spoke about earlier, so that's its own business in itself. So I think it's just running those businesses and then somewhere along the line marketing. I find marketing is the hardest thing. We're the new guys on the block, we're the new guys in Port Charlotte, trying to get our name out there. I don't know if you noticed from our podcast, we're not marketing experts, doing our best, but that's true. That's true. That's true. But that's definitely a difficulty. And what else would you say?
Well, from 28 years ago, my ideal to get into this business was to sell cars. At some point in time, I was removed from that, on the floor every day, interacting with customers, and it's really and truly a business. And what goes on outside of it, like you said, is the marketing, is the internet vendors, is getting the website up, running, and current. It's dealing with the outside vendors for whether it be lot maintenance, whether it be building maintenance, whether it be landscaping, whether it be, again, that marketing. It's the stuff that you never think of. It's the day-to-day. You're out doing groceries and you've got your Mazda Port Charlotte hat on. You're talking to customers, you're running errands back and forth. We got a driver that's sick, you got to be on the road delivering parts. People is always the hardest part when running a business, because you've got 42 individual personalities. You got to get everybody on board, rowing that boat in the same direction so it's successful.
And as Phil mentioned, like, we are a family owned and operated store, so we don't have some of the resources that these giant corporate stores have. Everything is what we do ourselves internally. So these are good Q&As. Keep them coming. If you have anything else, send it over to us. And you can just drop it into the comments and we'll get to it. We'll answer it.
So the ones that are labeled Phil and Andy podcast are the ones that go through first. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.